Sticking to weight loss consistently felt impossible because life seemed to always get in the way, whether it be work stress, holidays, or simply losing motivation. And then when I'd feel up to it again, I'd step on the scale and find all my lost weight is back, if not more. It was like I was stuck in a hamster wheel, losing the same pounds over and over again. It was only when I stopped looking at my weight loss efforts as on or off, and instead as a scale of effort that fit the natural ups and downs of my life, that I broke out of the hamster wheel. The best part is all it took were 2 simple habits practiced for just 5 minutes weekly, and my weight loss consistency became unstoppable. The first habit I call get lazy.
Wait, get lazy in a consistency video? Are you in the wrong video?
Listen, what is the number one reason you fall off the wagon? Well, it's because of work, but interesting thing is the first few weeks it would go well despite work. It would all start one day with me noticing my clothes don't fit well. I'd be alarmed and jump on the scale, only to be shocked by how much weight I had gained. The shock would be followed by deep disappointment in myself and then determination that this time I'll get it right. I'd Google for a new weight loss plan, watch YouTube videos, scroll through Instagram, and if I knew a friend who lost weight, ask them what they did. I'd put this together into a plan that unsurprisingly would be some variation of reduce or cut out junk and sweets, which mainly affected my snacking, reduce eating out, which I'd translate into cook more, portion to match actual serving guidelines, and exercise more, which I translate into working out at least twice a week. I'd knocked this schedule out of the park the first week. It felt so good to be doing all the right things, and the weight drop would fill me with hope. Second week also goes well, maybe even the third week. By week 4, you'd think I'd be a pro at the schedule, having it down to a science. But instead, things would start feeling hard around then. What the heck? Work would bump out my allotted time to look up recipes, or I'd be too tired to drag myself to cook, or I'd wake up too late to exercise at my planned time. I would think I'll do these later, but then I'm still tired, or just plain lacking motivation to do it at a later time. Then I think, well, I'm off track anyway, so might as well start next week. Which means the rest of this week, I'm back to my old habits of snacking on my favorite junk, eating out a lot, and being my usual couch potato self. When next week rolls around, I try to get back to cooking or exercising, but my consistency is wobbly. I may batch cook, but then feel my food is boring and eat out more anyway. Or maybe I skip a few gym sessions until it all finally peters out into solidly being back to my old habits. And so it goes till once again, I'm shocked by my clothes failing to fit and off the cycle starts all over again. What's going on here? Let's be real. It's rarely, if ever, my workload. It's just that a few weeks in, I start prioritizing work over my weight loss habits. It's also not that any one weight loss habit is hard. Looking up recipes? I'm a pro at researching things online. Grocery shopping? I do that weekly even if I am eating out a lot. Cooking? Okay, harder, but that's why I'm only doing one-pot recipes with less than 10 minutes of active time. Workouts? 15-minute hit YouTube videos are not massive time sinks. Is it that I'm unmotivated, undisciplined, and just someone who can't stick to anything? If this was true, how have I finished university degrees and gotten promoted at work? What's going on is I am too motivated. I never stop to ask what is the minimum thing that's necessary for weight loss at my current size. My recurring mistake was thinking that if each habit isn't hard and fits time-wise into my schedule, it'll work. I ignored the fact that the total number of things, regardless of difficulty or if it fits time-wise, matters just as much because of how our brains work. Unlike a machine, when we switch from doing one task to the next, for about 30 minutes, we still have residual attention on the old task. This means things take longer than what we put down on paper. Second, we experience extinction bursts, meaning that when an old habit is on the verge of being replaced, our brains throw a last tantrum to cling to it. This is exactly what was happening to me around week 4. And if I'm experiencing extinction bursts across multiple habits, of course it's impossible to continue. I would have been way better off being lazy and picking one easy, takes hardly any time at all thing. Now, how do you know what's your one thing? If you're over 30% body fat as a woman or 20% body fat as a man, your one minimum thing to do for maximum results is to eat fewer junk and sweets or eat out less. And by fewer, this could be 1 less per week, 1 less per day, or 1 less per meal. For me, all I did was for 1 week, I wrote down my meals and noted if they were junk, sweets, or eating out. Then at the end of the week, I glanced through this log and noticed I didn't eat a lot of sweets, but I drank a lot of soda and ate out a lot. Again, following the minimum effort for maximum results rule, replacing soda with water per meal felt a lot easier to do than reducing eating out by even a single meal. So that's what I did and saw good progress up until I hit the 28% body fat mark, which for a man would have been about 18% body fat. At that point, the one minimum thing to do for maximum results is to replace my less nutritious meals with more nutritious ones. This is when my eating out needed to be addressed. Following the minimum effort rule again, I replaced just one restaurant meal a week with a home-cooked meal. And then whenever my weight got stuck for at least 2 weeks, I'd make one more replacement and keep going. It was only when I reached about the 24% body fat mark, which is equivalent to 14% for men, that I added a 30-minute strength training session once a week and intentionally focused on meeting my 10,000 steps a day goal. This worked great in my normal routine, so I was all set 80% of the year. But what about the times of the year when I'm not in my normal routine? It could be a crazy work deadline during the weeks of which I know I cannot cook my meals or do a workout. Or it could be going on vacations where I know I'm going to not stick to my usual plan because it's a once in a year opportunity. There's no way I'm saying no to gelato, pasta, and pizza in Italy, or no to mom's cooking. Or it could be surprises like daycare is closed or it's snow day, and so you suddenly have the kids at home and need to reshuffle your entire routine for the day. But crazily enough, I'd go into these bumps as if in a cloud of optimism, assuming I'll just continue with my normal weight loss plans, when a second of questioning would have collapsed this house of cards. Which is why the second habit is called Get Real. There are 2 parts to this habit. First, when you decide on your one thing to focus on at your size, also decide on what happens when you cannot do your one thing. For example, when I had a crazy work deadline and my one thing was to make home-cooked meals, I switched the home-cooked meals to eating rotisserie chicken or frozen meals for that time. Or when I'm on vacation or family holidays and can't eat my home-cooked meals, my plan was to take 1 gulp of water after every bite to slow myself down. Having a backup plan before abnormal times happened made weight loss stick. There's no way I would have come up with it during the abnormal times because I'm already overwhelmed by being thrown off my routine. The second part of this habit that I also decided before the abnormal times was the ramp up action once my routine went back to normal. Let's say before my vacation, I was cooking most of my meals. After vacation, I would expect I'd go straight back to cooking most of my meals again, but history had taught me otherwise. I would have the hardest time getting my motivation back up to wanting to cook again. It felt like so many steps. Decide on recipes, make a grocery list, cook. When for the past 2 weeks of vacation, I was doing none of it. So instead, I decided on a ramp-up action like going back to having 1 cooked home meal a week and setting expectations that I may not see weight loss during the ramp-up time, and that's okay. It took me 7 years to become overweight. A month's delay isn't a big deal. But a month's hurry, after which I burn out till New Year, that is a big deal. But you know the most counterintuitive part? By slowing down, my weight loss sped up. I'd return from vacations having maintained, or if I gained any weight, it would come off immediately after returning home because I was practicing my backup plan during it. I would do my ramp-up plan, and because I was still doing something, my weight would come off slower but consistently anyway. Slow and steady really does win. But during this entire time, my weight would fluctuate in what seemed to be unpredictable ways. I'd do everything right and see my weight go up inexplicably. It would make me question if I was really doing the right one thing. This is why you don't want to ignore this video where I show you how I was able to separate fat loss from weight loss. I also had to take into account my hunger, cravings, energy, etc., all of which together tell you if the one change you're focused on are right or wrong. So you don't want to miss the complete step-by-step breakdown here. And always remember, you can do it.